It's already in the chat.
I put up a new short today, and I got some heat for it.
I saw. Well, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest,
One of
unless
my
you're
buddies,
talking about besides what was on Twitter.
No, that was just my buddy from an old writing gig. He was like,
Wait, where'd you get heat from then?
No, that's it. He's like, no, Bill Russell would like a word, and then like TikTok comments was like there was a dude there who was like, what the fuck? Of course, though, that happens. But yeah, no, good clip, good. I don't want to say clickbait, but people will like to see that.
It's a good eye-catching thing. Yes,
that's the word. Yes, eye-catching. All right. Usually takes people a little bit to get in here, join up, but Celtics Raptors today. We were a minute early. Celtics Raptors today. Hello, Jackin. Welcome. Hello, Dennis. Saw you there before we officially started. Celtics are underdogs for the first time this season. And I was asking Sam before he jumped on why, because I don't fully get why. It doesn't really make sense to me. Yep. Dennis is already on top of it. 100 units Celtics money line plus 110. I was telling my dad about it before the game too. Like, I understand Al Horford being out, and I understand Malcolm Brogdon being out, and I understand that the Celtics played the Raptors preseason, and I don't remember if they won, but it was like they were good games.
No, they lost, but it was like close.
Yes, but I don't understand how the Celtics should be underdogs in this one, even with Al Horford and Malcolm Brogdon out. I disagree.
They're on the road. Toronto's not on the back-to-back. They're on the back-to-back. Toronto has a good crowd. The Celtics are going to have targets on their back. Like, it's weird now because every time somebody's playing the Celtics, it's a big deal to that team, right? It's not like you're just kind of under the radar. It's like you're the Warriors now, and you come to town. Fans are paying up the ass to get in the door, and also the players are ready to try and beat you and get that crowd ready to explode. That's a big part of it for them, you know? So the Celtics are going to be getting people's best shot throughout, you know, all the season. You're going to see it tonight in Toronto, for sure.
I understand it. My thing is, though, unless it is the Suns, the Warriors, or the Bucks, I don't think the Celtics should be dogs if the Jays are healthy. Like, if Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are playing, I don't care. Unless it's like 5 other players are out, I don't think the Celtics should be underdogs. They lost to the Heat a couple days ago, but outside of that, they haven't lost in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Like, they haven't, like, one loss, overtime loss, close loss. They beat the Nets, and it was a tough game, yes, and they probably should have, stomped on the Nets a little bit. That's a good point, Landon. I don't know if the Raptors have a good home record. That could be playing a part in it, but they're 12-11 on the season. They are 9-2 at home. So Landon is right. Good at home. But from what I'm thinking of, the Celtics are pretty good on the road. They're 8-3 on the road. So it's not like the Celtics.
I mean, they're good everywhere.
Exactly.
They've only lost 5 games. Like, the worst it was going to be is like 8-5 or something like that, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I respect the Raptors. Sam knows I'm a Raptors guy. I think they're a good team. I think they're a playoff team. I think I picked them to be in my playoffs, maybe my 7th seed at worst before the season, when a lot of people were probably putting them in the play-in for the Cavs for bumping them out. But I don't know. I'm just not really buying it. Yeah, and like they've played some decent teams at home. They've actually had a tough home schedule, and they're 9-2, which is impressive. But like Sam keeps saying, it's tough for me to see the Celtics losing.
It's so Marcus is playing tonight, Dennis, before I start talking. But it is funny to me because the last time we were in a pregame show and you were like, oh man, like I don't know why the line's like this. It was Chicago and they got pieced in Chicago. Yeah. And it's funny because Smash the Odds was messaging me and he was like, yeah, dude, like when Jack said Celtics like money line or Celtics like hammer the spread, I almost faded him so fast. And I thought the same thing. It's just when Vegas does stuff like this and you're like, why are they doing that? It's the Windhorse thing. It's like, why would they do that? Why would they do that? What's going on there? There's some reason they're doing that. They know something that we don't know. But who knows? Celtics are hot. I thought they might lose yesterday in Brooklyn. I thought it was
it was close.
the fall down the hill spot there. You lose
Mhm.
Friday, you go on the road to a team that you swept in the playoffs. They've got a chip on their shoulder. Durant
And they played good.
setting the world on fire. Celtics played pretty poorly on offense, but it was one of my favorite wins of the season because they won that game with defense. Kevin Durant, again, was on fire going into that game, and they really didn't let him take over. It was a great performance all around, and they were the Marcus Smart. They survived turning the ball over a bunch of times. The defense was back. It felt like I was watching a game from last season, but when it was the good team, not the team in the playoffs that was making me very upset.
Mm-hmm.
That went to the finals. That upset me.
I agree. And perhaps the most impressive part of the win, I think, is the way they closed it out. Because it was a tough game. It was an up and down game all the way throughout. And then in the final, 3 minutes, they kind of just put their foot on the neck of the Nets is what I was trying to say. They intentionally fouling Nick Claxton a couple times to send him to the line. At the end there, they were trying to intentionally foul him, but Tatum stole the ball before Horford could get the foul off and just put it away with the breakaway dunk. It was a nice closeout. Like you said, it was an impressive win considering how poorly they played. It was feeling like the Heat game for a while there, but then they, I guess, learned from their mistakes. And I think the Raptors will be just as tough. I just think saying the Celtics aren't favorites is like, even if they're like 2-point favorites, right? I don't think the Celtics are like going to blow the Raptors away, but it's just weird to like see that Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, both healthy, but they're underdogs. Even like, I don't know. Regardless of that, I think another thing is we're talking about Marcus Smart playing. You really saw why the Celtics need Marcus Smart against the Nets, right? Like the offensive performance against the Heat was bad. The offensive performance against the Nets was horrendous, right? Like there are levels. There are levels. Like the Celtics started off slow in that Heat game. They shot like pretty poorly from 3. I think 2 of 8 in the first quarter. But then they brought it back and they were shooting 40% by halftime, ended around 33, which is not good by their standards. I don't know the stats from the Nets game, but if you watch the Nets game, it was ISO. It was, I'm going to do it myself. It was, even when they were getting
fell into the trap.
Exactly. Even when they were getting like good looks, it was a lot of Malcolm Brogdon figuring it out by himself and getting it to a guy in the corner. That's why they need Marcus Smart. That is like, they need him to run the offense. He's averaging, I think, 7.7 assists per game this year. Like, he is a top 10 playmaker in the league right now in terms of assists per game. His turnovers are still hovering right around 2, which is great for your primary ball handler. And the way he initiates the offense is so crucial for how good the Celtics are on that end of the floor. And that's, I think, a huge reason why you saw that they were struggling against the Nets.
Yeah, the isolation killed them. You saw them get into trouble with that throughout the playoffs when they were at their worst. They were turning the ball over a lot because they were trying to do it themselves. Jaylen Brown had a phenomenal game in Brooklyn. He had a great game against Miami. And he said, "Hey, look at me. I'm looking at the finals already." Afterwards, he said, "Look at this. I'm already going to lead this team to the finals." Good for him. Another reason I think the Celtics are dogs tonight, though, is Tatum has been a little bit off. He hasn't been bad. He wasn't great against Miami. Wasn't great yesterday against Brooklyn, even though he ended with 29 points. But throughout the game, he wasn't the same dominant player he's been all season. So that's something to keep your eyes on tonight in Toronto with OG out there, with Pascal Siakam out there, guys that they can throw at him to play defense.
And
OG's been another tough one.
OG's like a leader for Depoy right now. Like he's that locked in on defense.
So he's been just good overall. He's having a jump year. Like, scoring, being reliable again, like you said, defense.
He's been really good,
leading that ladder. It's going to be a good game up there. You have that rat Nick Nurse on the sideline with his mouth agape. And I mean, if the Celtics are up like 10 points with like a minute left, he's going to be fouling too. Keep your eyes out for that. He loves doing that. He's such a rat. Nick Nurse is one of like the biggest rats in the league.
Sam, not a Nick Nurse fan. Hello, Phil. No. How we doing, everybody? There are a good bunch of you in here, but I see some of you on certain channels. I'm going to do the early plug. Landon can help me out in the chat if he feels so obliged. If you're watching on Guy Boston Sports, which I think about 12 of you are, if my numbers say correct, head on over to the How About Them Celtics podcast YouTube channel. We're live streaming on that platform as well, obviously on Twitter and my Twitter, Sam's Twitter, and even Twitch as well. But if you're on YouTube on Guy Boston Sports, head on over to How About Them Celtics podcast YouTube, subscribe there, leave a like. We'd greatly appreciate it. The support is great. New podcast from us on Wednesday. We had one go up with Bobby Manning of CLNS Media the other day. You can check that out and a bunch of clips from it as well. So we'd appreciate it. But back around to the Celtics. Raptors are a tough opponent. They're a team that the Celtics usually have pretty good games against, dating back to the playoffs in the bubble, obviously. And they've got a good team. Fred VanVleet was an all-star last year. Scotty Barnes, reigning rookie of the year. Gary Trent Jr. is there. Pascal Siakam's having an all-NBA first-team season. He's been phenomenal for them this year. Chris Boucher, Koloko is their rookie.
He has more blocks than Gobert. I saw that going around. Yeah, like they were like they give up picks and picks and picks for this guy to protect the rim, and this rookie in Toronto has more blocks than him.
Exactly. Yeah, no, Koloko's been great this year. He's been really good. I think he started at center for them, or he had at one point Christian Koloko. OG Anunoby, obviously, I'm just trying to rattle through the names. Tad Young off the bench has been solid for him. Kem Birch is there. They've just got a really good all-around squad in Toronto. And the Celtics have the depth too, missing Sam, do you like Christmas more than Nick Nurse?
Yeah, and I put this up because the last time the Celtics played them on Christmas, JB lit them up. That was a murder at the Scotiabank. Wasn't even close.
Is it still the Scotiabank or did they change it?
I think it is.
Raptors Arena.
I'm pretty sure it's still Scotiabank.
It is still Scotiabank. You're right.
Look at me knowing stuff. International knowledge.
Landon the legend. Yes, sir. How about them Celtics podcast YouTube channel, like Landon said? But Raptors got a good squad. The fist bumps are coming out in the chat. Love to see it. Fist bump it up. Yeah, Celtics lost one to the Heat. Took down the Nets in the last one. JB is on a burner right now. I think 35 and then 37, or maybe vice versa. But he's averaging a lot of points, making an All-NBA push. Making an all-star push too, as is Jayson Tatum. I don't see a way both of them don't make it this year. I mean, the Celtics are the best team in the East. And the only reason I would argue Jaylen Brown didn't make it last season was because they were bad at the halfway point through the season. So they're looking good. The Celtics are looking good. The real question is, will Joe Mazzulla coach the team? Is it still the best team in the East coaches it, or is there some selection?
I think so. I think that's it.
So do you think the Celtics are still the best team in the East by the All-Star break?
They should be. Christmas is going to be a big day, of course, with Milwaukee. We talked about it yesterday.
Yes.
We're going to talk about it again. They are coming. They did lose to the Lakers on Friday. But
with Middleton, obviously first game back, but yes.
I think that's like the next real big. Well, they play Golden State on Saturday, and then out west you play Phoenix, and the LA teams are both going to get up for that game, especially the Lakers. That'll be a good game. So they have some good tests over this next couple weeks.
The rest of the Celtics road trip is today against Toronto, Wednesday at Phoenix, Saturday at Golden State, Monday at the Clippers, and then Tuesday back-to-back at the Lakers. And then luckily for the Celtics, they do have, I don't want to call it a break, but they have a pretty lenient 4-game stretch before they play the Bucks on Christmas Day. They have Orlando, Indiana, Minnesota. So they should, maybe Minnesota gives them trouble. The Pacers have been good this year. It's not going to be completely
Orlando gave them trouble the first time.
Exactly. But it's better than, Toronto, Phoenix, Golden State, LA twice, right? Or the 2 LA teams. So there's that. Jonathan predicting a high turnover game from the Celtics. The Raptors do have a lot of gritty defenders. Obviously, OG Anunoby, I think he leads the league in steals. If I'm not missing it. Yep, 2.3 steals per game. Fred VanVleet's not far behind him at 1.8. And then Gary Trent Jr. is not far behind him at 1.6. So they get a lot of steals. They're going to be all up in the Celtics business. And then obviously you got Pascal Siakam and Koloko down low guarding the paint with Scotty Barnes. So they've got a lot of talented defenders this year. They're not going to hesitate to give the Celtics problems. The Celtics have a good offense, but the Raptors right now, I believe, are one of the better defenses in the league. I'm going to fact check myself so I don't look foolish. But they're 7th in defensive rating this year. Where the Celtics can kill them is on the offensive end. They're 13th, so they're still not a bad offensive
Where
team.
Where are the Celtics defensively now?
I was just going to look at that as well. They're 14th.
They're going to be climbing.
They're 14th. 14th. They're 111.5. I'll put it this way. They're only, they're 111.5 and 14th. The Lakers are 10th at 111. So they're 0.4 behind 10th place out of being a top 10 defense. So they're not bad, but the Raptors are up there at 110.5. And then the Cavs, the Bucks, and the Pels and the Sixers are up there in 1, 2, 3, 4. But Celtics offense, I'll say it again. They're about 2.6 points better than second place. And that is the same gap between second place and, fifth place. Like they've got a pretty wide lead on the NBA in terms of offensive rating. So a lot of talented guys on the Celtics. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. I got distracted. A lot of new messages popped up. Big hand measurements up there. Yeah, they got a lot of length. Harden is playing tonight. Just got notification. Sixers getting healthy again. They'll probably make a run. Toronto tends to over pursue, keep the ball moving. Yep. Passing is ever important, as we saw against the Nets when they didn't really do that. Rob returned for Warriors game. This is Phil's prediction. Play the Warriors Saturday the 10th. I said this last podcast. I think I might have said, or last pregame show. I think I said it while you were bugging out. My prediction is Rob returns at home against the Magic.
I was there for that because then I said I'll be there, which I will.
Yeah, I think they hold him out for the road trip. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think it would be cool for him to come back at home too. It's more exciting.
Yes.
A better environment. Not that it really matters.
No need to rush either. Because
it's probably a nice boost when you come in and you dunk the ball and everyone's pumped for you instead of being like in Phoenix or Golden State or at the crypto.com arena. Like, who cares? Yeah, man, I'm pumped. I'm excited to get Rob back. I think it's going to be interesting to see, especially because we saw yesterday the Celtics win a game on the defensive end.
Yep.
Right. They proved they could win without mowing the other team down with 130 points, which was huge. Cornette didn't see a lot of time yesterday though. So
he did not.
That's the eyeball emoji for the skeptics on Rob, because the big argument will be he can't shoot. Cornette doesn't shoot. He can do it. So they're going to play some more roles in a game like yesterday. Rob, would he have played? Maybe not. That'll definitely be something to write about when that happens.
Yes, sir. And here you go. Griffin once again getting the spot start for the Celtics with Al Horford out. It's kind of become the norm. He was pretty good, the last time he got the spot start against was it the first Heat game? Was it the Hornets game? It was the Hornets game.
Yeah, Charlotte. He played
against
well.
Charlotte.
Actually,
it was Griffin. He did play well, and he'll be getting that start again against the Raptors. I will say though, I'm a bit concerned with the Griffin start against a team like the Raptors, depending on who the Raptors are rolling out for their starting lineup. Because in their last game that I noticed, they ran a starting lineup of, I think it was Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Christian Koloko. And at that point, who you putting him against? Right, because he can box out, and Koloko's a skinny guy, but Koloko's, I think, 7'1". Like, he's a tall dude with a long wingspan.
VanVleet, Barnes, Anunoby, Siakam, Koloko.
Yep, just like I said. So I think it could prove to be a tough matchup for offensive rebounding, at the very least, with Griffin out there because he's shorter, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Blake plays hard. That's one thing you got to give to him. Every time he's been out there for the Celtics, he has just given them everything he's got. Working hard, crashing the offensive glass. There was one possession against Charlotte where he forced 3 extra possessions for Boston. 2 offensive rebounds. 1 was a tip out. So I've enjoyed seeing Blake out there. Everyone seems to get along with him. He's not creating problems at the end of the bench. Yep. He's not what people feared maybe a Carmelo would be if he came in the Gallinari role. He's been serviceable. And I think the Horford replacement role is good. That way you don't have to throw Vonleh out there and have him foul. He's proven that he's really not ready for more minutes yet. Hopefully he can be in the future. And another note to the starting lineup, I'm happy White is coming off the bench because they're going to need it. No Brogdon today. You're gonna need that little extra punch off the bench.
I agree. He can match Gary Trent a little bit off there. Blake tonight going to be strong tonight on Siakam. I don't think he'll be guarding Siakam. I think that'll probably be Tatum's assignment. No, I don't think so. I think that might be Tatum's job.
I think Blake's going to be hidden on whoever's standing in the corner.
Yes, I agree. At full force, we can finish off teams by halftime. I think that's the goal. I think they've had chances to do that this season. They need to be better at consistently doing it, but we've seen it happen, especially, the back-to-back against Washington and Charlotte. Effectively, it was over by halftime. Like Landon says, hop on over to How About Them Celtics. I see 70 over there, 11 of you on Guy Boston. If you want to subscribe to the How About Them Celtics podcast YouTube channel, we would greatly appreciate it. New podcast out there on Wednesday. Did one with Bobby Manning the other day. CLS Media. Real Cortez, the Raptors are favorites just barely tonight. I think the spread is 1.5 in favor of the Raptors. So it's effectively a pick 'em, but you got it there. Hello, Dad. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it as always. Blake's against speed sounds like a nightmare. This could be another issue as well because the Raptors like to run, and they've got guys who can run. Obviously, even Koloko can get out there and run a little bit. He's a rookie, so he's young, got the young legs. And then Jonathan saying, remember when Brown locked up Siakam in the bubble? Brown has guarded Siakam a lot throughout his career. I remember opening night, not this past season, but a couple years ago, he guarded him really well. He can guard some fours, but Siakam, he usually has his number. So, yeah, there is that. What do you think about that? Who do you think guards Siakam? I said Tatum, but
Tatum.
John makes a good point here. I think it could be Brown.
It could be Brown, but I just think Tatum's your guy. Brown matches up with OG fine. And also, Tatum has been an improved defender since the bubble. Brown always had defense in his calling card, and this year he's taken a bit of a dive. Tatum,
yes, he's
the
been rough on
exact opposite. He's
year.
been better. However, Siakam was pretty bad in the bubble. That was fire. Him and Marc Gasol were my favorites in that series. They just were doing a whole lot of nothing.
Marc Gasol. I remember Marc Gasol and the Raptors. He was good for them for a couple years. He struggled in that series, but Birkin agreeing with me on the favorites thing. Maybe not as lenient as I was. I think it'll be a tough game, but I agree that the Celtics probably should be favored. But yeah, Raptors pose a challenge for sure. You heard Missoula the other day. Again, I think we covered this, saying Rob is pretty close to returning. That's a good thing. Always nice to get that sort of update. This could also be, sporadic thoughts. This could be a big Peyton Pritchard game with Brogdon out. I think him and Cornette should get some run.
That's exciting because he's been such a great spark off the bench in most of his appearances. Maybe not yesterday in Brooklyn where he missed a wide open layup in the fourth quarter and then Grant missed one right after it. When that happened, I was like, oh man, they're really going to lose this game. They're only up like 5, and Brooklyn was kind of mounting the comeback, at least laying the groundwork for it. So when Pritchard had a wide open layup, so open that he like legit took his time and slowed down and missed, I was like, oh boy.
I think he thought someone was behind him. I think he was like hesitant. I think he thought someone was behind him.
He very well might have, but man,
not an excuse, just an observation. Birkin expecting 130. I don't know about that. I might pump the brakes. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the Raptors are a good defensive team. And John saying Gasol made Tice look like prime Dwight Howard in game 1 of that series.
Tice was fine in the bubble, man. He was fine. He didn't guard Bam, but he was not bad. He was much better than anyone would have thought he would be. He had a potential game-winning play in game 3 of that series if he laid the ball up instead of dunking it. And then OG made the 3. It's funny, like it's so funny that like in hindsight, everyone was like, "Yeah, dude, if you laid the ball up, the clock would have ran out." And if you're in that situation, you can dunk the ball, you're gonna dunk it. Like
you just want to get it in.
There's no other thought than dunking the ball.
Just avoid the defense, get the ball in the hoop quickly. That's the thought process there. We got odds tonight, Sam?
We do. I'm doing it right now. Let's see. One more.
I'll take a look at my pick while you do that. Drop some picks in the chat. What are you guys expecting tonight? You know the usuals. Grant plus 1.5. White points. What do we think tonight?
Pick of the night presented by Smash the Odds at Smash Odds on Twitter. A 14-4 record when they give out picks on our show. So if you're taking the picks, you're making some money most of the time. His pick, Siakam, over 36.5 total points, rebounds, and assists. That means the total number, if you add all those categories, will be 37 or more. And my pick, Derek White, over 10.5 points with no Brogdon. You're going to see him get some extra minutes. I'm surprised that number is lower. Might be a public pick, but I don't know, man. It sticks out to me off the page. Do you have anything, Jack?
Looking now, I don't see Derek White points on mine, so I guess I'll have to avoid that, be forced to avoid it. Grant Williams over 1.5 is negative 125, so that's not great odds for me there. I'll take Jayson Tatum over 3.5 threes. I'll be a little bold. It's okay money. It's minus 105, so it's not terrible. But he's been slow lately, and I think this might be a game where he kind of turns it around. He's been a slow offensive guy for 2 games in a row. I don't see him making it 3. I think he's due. 3 games.
I hope he's due. This could be a trap game for him too, though. Just with the length that Toronto has, you're going to see a lot of different guys thrown at him. Landon asking what type of defense that we expect Toronto to play, switching between zone.
I think Nick Nurse is going to throw a bunch of different looks at the Celtics. I think that's just the way he plays. I think you'll see him throw zone. I think you'll see him go man. I think you'll see him switch. Hell, maybe he'll throw a box and 1 at Tatum. Like, he loves to do whatever he can do to throw the Celtics off their game. So I don't think they're going to stick to one game plan tonight on defense. I think they'll probably throw a lot of looks.
Would not be shocked if Nick Nurse goes out there and tries to guard somebody. We've seen him get involved in games before. Where he was pretending to be the guy in the corner and then was bewildered when anyone accused of him. Like, oh, no, I would not have done that. Meanwhile, I was literally like guarding Tatum.
Yeah. So we shall see. He's the devil, says
I agree.
And John making a good point. If Tice had laid the ball up, he might have looked like Pritchard the other day. So
that would have been a disaster. That would have been. Imagine that. Imagine how mad everybody would have been. That would have been worse than the 3, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it would be.
Definitely.
Dennis says
Dennis making a good point.
Both 2+ threes.
Very possible. Very, very possible. Magic beating the Bucks right now. It's 11-13, but yes, they are. The Magic are beating the Bucks.
It's a big lead. That is insurmountable. Let me tell you.
It could be a close one. Yeah. We got around 5 more minutes here, though. What else is there? There was something else I wanted to bring up, but I can't think of what it was. Oh, the video we put out today was a clip from a podcast we recorded about a week ago. Robert Williams, Anthony Davis potential trade. It was brought up as an idea by Colin Cowherd. And since then, he has been kind of the best player in the league, Anthony Davis. He's been really good. So I don't think the Lakers, not that they would ever consider that deal, but Anthony Davis has been absolutely ridiculous over the past week since we say that. So maybe we take a little credit for the Lakers run, Sam.
Well, no, I hope not. That's like the kind of thing like you see somebody like slapping themselves over, or like they're just really like they're like the kid that like plucks his eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, like you're such a bad fan, man. You motivated the Lakers. I'm bummed to see them winning. It sucks. It was more fun when they were 2-10, and I was asking for charitable donations on Twitter. Now I'm concerned that people have made the charitable donations, and it's starting to work out for them.
It looked like a playoff team.
It's starting to compete, which I don't love. Don't love that.
Drop what 55 and 17 the other day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, it's game numbers.
It's all calmed down a minute.
Come on now.
But they beat Milwaukee. That's for real.
That they did. That they did. But yeah, the idea of AD Robert Williams trade was brought up by Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd. I think if it was a straight up deal, you kind of have to consider it, considering how much of a better player AD is. Would the Celtics do it? Obviously not. Would the Lakers do it? Obviously not. And not that they could do it, because if you're the Celtics, to match AD's salary, you'd have to throw in, another core piece, and at that point, you're just gunning the team. So there's that. Adrian, shocked as I am. Why are the Raptors favored to win? Adrian, I don't know, man. I wish I could explain to you, but I don't know. I disagree with the premise. They're 9-2 at home this year, so that's probably playing into it. Al Horford and Malcolm Brogdon are both out for the Celtics, but the Celtics are 19-5. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both playing, so I don't understand the line. Maybe
I'm surprised that wasn't your pick. I'm surprised you didn't say Celtics money line for the pick.
Yeah, take Celtics money line. That's easy money. Come on.
Jack's pick. Oh boy.
Doesn't make sense. I don't get it.
Jackie Public on the stream.
Hey, I'm not saying they're going to win by a landslide. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game, but they're the best team in basketball, and they've had a couple ugly ones here, but it's not like the Raptors are God. They're 12-11.
Let's see what the public's on. I'm just curious.
I bet they're on Celtics. I bet it's 60-40 Celtics for bets right now.
Let's see.
I bet it's pretty slanted.
How do I check this?
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
The hell, man. I know I've seen where it shows the things.
Also, for those listening that enjoy our podcast, it's going to be real
64.
awkward. What did I say?
Oh, it's 70-30 money line.
What did I say?
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you. Also, for those of you, again, shameless plug, head on over to the How About Them Celtics podcast YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. Adrian, I haven't seen you in a while. Head on over to How About Them Celtics on YouTube. Subscribe for me. We have a video coming out tomorrow that we recorded a week ago about the Celtics' historical offense, which is terrible timing because they've been terrible on offense for the past 2 games. But just know we recorded the offense video before the Heat and the Nets game. So some explanation for you if you do decide to tap in and watch that one. Birkin accusing Colin Coward of being an inside man. But anything you want to say before we hop out of here, Sam?
No, I don't have anything today. I didn't have anything written down. I would have loved to complain. No complaints today. Believe it or not. I'm mild today.
Well, there you go. Celtics Raptors about to tip off in a few minutes here. We will let you go. Once again, for the final time, this is the Celtics pregame show. If you're watching on Guy Boston Sports, head on over to the How About Them Celtics podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe there. New podcast coming out Wednesday with a guest who, obviously, not going to spoil who it is, but a guest podcast coming out on Wednesday. We had a podcast with Bobby Manning of CLNS Media. If you're a fan of the Garden Report, had Bobby on the show. That podcast is out. It was a few days ago. Check that out. You can check out all the shorter videos of clips from that episode if you don't want to watch the whole thing. Same as the GOAT, Landon in the chat. Shorts out today, and there was one out a couple days ago. We were both on Twitter. Those ats are below our faces. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at How About Them C's. And yeah, How About Them Celtics podcast has its own YouTube channel. Check it out over there. All the good clips, all the good shorts, all the good videos there. Hit that sub button. We appreciate it. And yeah, this has been the Celtics pregame show with us. We're here 30 minutes before every Celtics game, and we'll see you guys for the next one.